But on my way in to take my child to school, my young man to school, we get behind this cop. And the cop, well, we're in a 35 mile an hour zone, and the cop is, it's one of these roads where, you know, it's 4 lanes, but then it comes down to 2 lanes kind of thing. And so, you know, he's sort of in one of the lanes that ends, and so he I notice as he's like swerving in the lane, right? And he's speeding and he's driving, he's changing lanes without using a turn signal. And I'm like, you know, at least 4 things he did right off the bat. That's the shit you get pulled over for. That's the shit your life could be ruined over. You know, you get the wrong cop on the wrong day who just feels like being a douchebag. And these are all things that you could do that would justify his fuckery. So I whip out my phone and I start filming it. And he's still speeding. You know, we're in a 35 zone and he's speeding. But you can see that he's swerving in the lane. Like, he keeps kissing the yellow lane, and like, who the fuck is this guy? So I uploaded it. See it in my upload section, in my videos section. Share it if you want to. Dearborn, Michigan cops fucking seemingly driving. Either he was on his phone or he was inebriated in some way, but he was definitely not. He was doing things that would make you get in trouble. But then again, that's sort of what they do all the time, isn't it? I'm such a weird... But the idea of good cops, if there were good cops, there wouldn't be any bad cops. And that's something that you need to take to heart. Because if there were good cops out there, they'd be arresting the bad cops. It wouldn't even be a question. And they would clean up the police force immediately. But you never hear about cops arresting other cops. So that should tell you something. You know, to me, that says there are no cops. The fact that we all know cops break the rules all the time, that there are bad cops doing this, that, and the other, we all know that exists. You never ever hear about cops getting in trouble, getting arrested. Well, that was a sneaky motherfucker right there. The cop was hiding in an area where in a parking lot of a country club. So you wouldn't see him if you were driving by, if you were speeding. Oh man, I'm really, you know, I'm trying not to be focused on the same old thing, same old shit every day, but it is. It's the same old shit because it doesn't change. And I don't see the point in talking about nonsense when there's a much bigger problem, a bigger picture, that if we can fix the bigger picture, we fix all the small nonsense things. You know, the Ian Carroll, Nick Fuentes, Billy Carson, that whole thing is absolutely a strange rabbit hole to go down. But nothing tops the I mean, it's not that it's just, it's, to me, it's obviously just a piece of it. But when you look at the secure community network, we all sort of know about it. It's that kind of stuff where you You know it exists, but because you're told you're not allowed to talk about them, you don't bring it up. But it definitely is something you've noticed and you think is weird. You know, how many of those 3-letter organizations they have? You know, the JFN, the SCN, the J agency, the J council on this, the J this, the J that. Like, they definitely have. Wow. What the hell's going on? They definitely have. The supremacy, the Semitism that they demand. And I just think it's like when you realize that the SCN, the Secure Community Network, raises and distributes over $2 billion annually throughout the community, just to ensure that Jays have it. Like, it's really interesting. Oh, look, we have somebody that wants me to crash. Like, imagine being that stupid, right? Imagine being so stupid that you don't like what I'm saying, but you can't do anything about it. So you wish horrible shit upon somebody. Like, it really does say a lot about the person that could say something like that. I'm sorry you have such a tiny pecker. I'm sorry you're so stupid. But none of that's gonna help anything. And if I was wrong about something, which I'm not. Oh, look, now he's acknowledging that he's a pedophile. What a surprise. Is anybody surprised that this guy is a pedophile? That the shit talker is a pedophile? The person that would wish a car crash on somebody in a community, really. I mean, if I crash, am I going to crash into somebody else? How's that work? But either way, are you really surprised when you find out that guy is a pedophile? Because from my perspective, the only way you can still be a Trump supporter is if you are a pedophile. If you have some sort of, you have images on your computer. I don't think everybody has had the opportunity to rape a child, so they haven't taken advantage of it. If they had the opportunity, they probably would. But people like this are the guys that have the computer full of images and videos and links, and they have a Discord account and a Telegram account and all that kind of shit. That's who still supports Trump. Because I don't think that somebody that doesn't have any pedophile shit going on can overlook everything everything associated with Trump. Everything. Whether it's the E. Jane Carroll conviction, because he was convicted on sexual assault. The judge said she knew it was rape. She just couldn't prove the penetration aspect of things, because how can you unless you have video of it or some shit? And then Trump lost both of his appeals on that shit. He tried to appeal it twice and lost both. And that's just one story. Like, there are so many Trump fucking with little girls stories. When asked by Howard Stern, on Howard Stern, by Robin, if he has an age limit, he said, no. Well, I mean, I don't want to get caught fooling around with a 12-year-old like what's his name. That's not the answer that you give. I don't want to get caught fooling around with a 12-year-old. He won the pop, goofy. Yeah. So? Files out there. And I you're dumb enough to buy the whole election process president, if you fall for that shit, that's on you. You know, he lost the popular vote the first time. I love how you'll say that about this time, but you don't bring it up on the 2016 election when he lost the popular vote by 2.7 million votes. 2.7 million more people wanted Hillary in charge, and that swamp that he promised he was going to drain, the APAC swamp, put him in charge anyway. But you guys don't like that. You don't like that. Your arguments don't work both ways, so you don't make them. That's kind of a crazy blanket statement. He won the popular and the majority. I don't understand what when it was between, like, when you look at the election of 2022 or 2022. When you look at that whole process, how many debates did you see? 2? And Trump lost both of them? I think one of the best parts was how prior to the Kamala debate, she was saying, well, I'm only going to need one debate. I'm only going to need one. And Trump was like, see, she's not man enough to do more debates. She's not strong enough. She's not power. Look, she's scared. She won't do more than one debate. She won't do more than one debate. Then she just destroys him in the debate. And immediately they ask, so when do you want to do the second debate? She's like, I don't care, whenever. I only needed the one, but I'm ready to do the second one whenever. Trump was the one that was like, oh, well, we're not going to be doing any more debates. We don't, we already look bad enough. We're not going to do any more. But whatever side you fall for, we lose. And it's just so stupid that people like pretend like they don't understand how things work when it comes to their situation, when it's their guy. Oh, well, it's my guy because he's. And the thing is, when you say, all right, so what about the first presidency? Did you was great? Was it the whole Epstein debacle that he completely covered up? Was it the whole Me Too thing that he completely covered up and basically destroyed? Was it the COVID, locking us down with COVID? Was that your favorite part? Like, what part did you like and support from this piece of shit? But you guys don't like these kinds of things. You don't like these kinds of facts. The wall that he promised Mexico was going to build and pay for and like it. And now you get charged for it twice. You get charged, well, actually, infinitely. It was taxpayer dollars that built it. And then the tariffs and extra costs that are put on all the goods that come in. Well, who do you think pays for that shit? Notice how prices went up? Yeah, prices went up. The producers aren't going to lose money from the tariffs. They're going to raise the prices on us. And it's the goyim, the average goyim, that end up paying for it. I enjoy our country not being a joke. Right. Because right now our country isn't the biggest joke it's ever been. Having that fucking pedophile in office who refuses to do what he promised. He's going to release the Epstein files. Remember all that? Yeah, we're an absolute joke. The things this man keeps doing and saying, oh my God, it's the best. It's a distraction. It's exactly what it's supposed to be. Like if you're falling for the Trump bullshit, to me, it's all just stupid. He's just an actor. He has no power whatsoever. He does what he's told when he's told by the chosen that tell him what to do, that put him in his position to begin with. He's so America first, except when it comes to Israel. Then, it just doesn't matter. There's no limit to the amount of money, weapons, support, American lives that he'll sacrifice for Israel. He doesn't give a fuck. But he's America first. I enjoy our country not being a joke. And again, what a stupid statement to say, right? Like, this dumbass is traveling all over the world, and everywhere he goes, people are like, oh, you're American? Oh, that's a joke. This dumbass doesn't, communicate with people outside of the United States other than, his child porn dealers, his child exploitation material dealers. But he doesn't talk to people outside the country. I enjoy our country not being a joke. You're a loser. You're a nobody. You don't even have a feed that people watch. You're just this little troll in his little box. Our country being a joke doesn't matter to you at all. You are a brother. I feel bad. What the brain nut rot has done. Everything you talk about. This is the best that they can come up with. This is the best. I bring up real shit. I bring up real things that were said and done. And they go, but you got brainwashed because you know about things that I don't know about. Duh. All I know is I have saved more money this year than I have my entire life. I don't know what everyone else is doing wrong. Right. You've saved more money this year because Trump is the president. What a dumbass. What a dumbass thing to say. Like, it's just stupid. But this is what, this is how they do it. This is when you're too much of a coward to acknowledge that you supported Trump because of his racism, his sexism, and his homophobia. And, obviously, if you still support Trump, it's because you can support a pedophile. Anybody that can support a pedophile is a pedophile. That's just how that works. But you don't have any concrete things that you can say, oh yeah, the Trump presidency made this better, made that better. You don't have anything. You don't know what you're fucking talking about. And it's just like everything else. Whether it's Israel, whether it's Christianity, whether it's just about anything we talk about. History, dry ice. You don't know shit about any of this stuff. You're this arrogant prick who, is used to getting their way. Maybe you yell a lot. Maybe, you go all Thaddeus and you're super gay and whatever. But you don't know what you're talking about. You don't know any of this shit. You can't have a legitimate argument, which is why you don't. It's why you don't make arguments. You're not sitting on some great argument waiting for the right time to say it. You don't have it. And that's pretty much the NPC narrative, like, across the board. It doesn't matter what thing we're talking about. These NPCs are able to have, like, a real basic... It's like this notion where, I always say I want people to disagree with me. I want to hear your disagreements. I want to hear what you think. And people will say, they'll say something stupid and be like, oh, I thought, because I respond, oh, I thought you said you wanted people to disagree with you. It's like, you thought that I wanted people to disagree with me, so then you were going to disagree with me, and I was just going to go, oh, okay then, I guess you're right. Duh. Like, I'm not going to have an backup argument. But it's that stupidity and that arrogance that drives you. So you think, well, because you said something, I should just be like, oh, okay, well, the great you said it, so that must make it true. It's fucking crazy. And it's like if I was you guys, I would accuse me of hiring these trolls, right? Because all they do is make me look better. And so I would assume like people aren't really this stupid, right? You're hiring people to come on here and play that stupidity role so that, it makes you look better. Wow. Wow. Jesus, we're getting crushed. Look at how stupid they are. Look at how desperate. It's embarrassing how I wish I had better opposition. But I don't leave too much room for opposition. The only way you can truly argue with me is if you acknowledge that you're really stupid, that you're probably a pedo, that you're more than likely a friar piece of shit. I don't leave you too many windows to climb through. And these guys do nothing but prove it. Let's see this next one. And I'm not even talking about Mexicans. I'm talking about the Ukraine-Russia guys or the people that wear towels on their heads, right? Like, this is the best I come up with. There's not even a pre to this, right? There wasn't even a pre-statement. He's just saying things like, and I'm not even talking about, who gives a shit? But obviously, he's a dumb, racist piece of shit, right? Look at his wording of his comments. You know immediately this is a white guy with a tiny prick. And they just, they're not going to come out and be like, yes, I am a racist white guy with a tiny prick. They're going to sit here and they're going to give you all sorts of clues. You just have to see the clues. Yes, there is, and you're not reading it. Yep, I'm not reading. I'm just picking and choosing which comments I'm reading. Right? I'm reading all but the other comments. All I know is that I have. That's the one comment, and then the next one is, and I'm not even talking about Mexicans. So obviously, your other dumbass comment didn't come through, or you didn't make it.
Have you heard the experts saying they're playing with Mother Nature? Have you read that on paper our vapors being destroyed? The ploys they employ make Siegfried and Roy look like boys playing in clown shoes. Their magic amounts to God's wettest.
Oh boy. I mean, this is like I say, you're not going to see intelligent defense because there can't be. There can't be. They just can't. How do you intelligently defend Judaism? How do you intelligently defend Trump? I said Trump has single-handedly saved the trucking industry in multiple ways. There we go. That's an argument. When asked what has happened, give me some evidence saying Trump has single-handedly, nobody else was involved. Trump single-handedly saved the trucking industry. Though you don't remember when the convoy took place, and that was on Trump's watch. We don't talk about that anymore, do we? But that's not even an argument. That's just some dumbass opinion phrase. Trump single-handedly saved the trucking industry. That's not an argument. That's a blanket statement that really doesn't even say much. Biden actually did a lot of good shit. And usually what you see with presidencies is the first 4 years is spent cleaning up the mess that the previous president left, because the last 4 years, the president, especially if it's his second term, he's not trying to get reelected. So he's just doing all kinds of crazy, New World Order kind of shit. And so Biden, I believe that Trump wasn't supposed to be president until 2022. I believe that they had to bring Trump in 2016 because they needed such a distraction. Me Too was so big, and the Epstein shit was so big, it was getting exposed. And so they needed some sort of distraction. Because I think Trump was supposed to be president leading into the next depression, the 2029 depression that they're gonna manufacture. So Biden was just filler. But like it's just so stupid how just incredibly desperate and stupid Trump supporters are. They're so like again, you like the idea of billions and billions and billions of dollars, war, sending American troops over to die, all for Israel? You're okay with that? You like that? I hope you're not on food stamps. You might not see that. Yeah. Look at the desperation again because of the stupid Trump people who shut the government down, who refused to negotiate to make healthcare but it's all bullshit. Like the whole Republican Democrat bullshit. Like it's so funny, right? Trump supporters say all the right things about every single other presidency, the government, the elections, all that. They talk about how rigged it all is, how manufactured it all is. But then for some reason, this orange weirdo who is a racist, homophobic, sexist, like that's what won it for him. His open racism, homophobia, and sexism. Because your average white dude's a coward, right? Your average white dude is a coward. And he feels this way, but he won't say these things out loud. Yep, it's the Democrats that did it. Oh. He's not racist. You, like others, don't know him. Right. You're right. I don't know him. I know people that do know him, like Omarosa. Remember her book that came out and chronicled his racism and talked all about it? And it was a bestseller. And then when it really came out what it was saying, that it just disappeared. I go based off of his policies, based off of his history, based off of who he is and the things that, he's said and done. But you're right, I don't know him because he's an actor. He's a character we're given. And like I say, you guys fall for it when it's Trump. But when it's Biden, when it's everybody else, it's all just rigged and it's all this and it's just so stupid. It's just so stupid. Yeah, your cousin knows him. I'm sure your cousin knows Donald Trump. I'm sure of it. You mean Donald Trumpstein. Every like it's so stupid how every argument you guys make, it's so easily proven. You don't even make arguments, but the dumb things you guys say, it's so easily overridden. He's board of directors on Bacardi rum. Yeah, well, I believe you. I believe what you say. Right? And I believe what your cousin told you and then the secondhand information that you're given. I totally believe it. It's all just bullshit. You're a farmer and an engineer. I bet you are. I bet you are. You're a farmer and it's 9 a.m. and you're not out farming? That's interesting. I would assume you would have farming to do, especially now that it's harvest season, so you probably have a lot going on. I mean, it's just stupid, right? It's just stupidity. I would have so much more respect for these guys if they would just be like, yeah, I am racist and sexist and homophobic, and Trump does appeal to that. Then at least you can have the conversation because you can get down to the brass tacks of it. But instead, it's this weird game, right? It's this weird game where like people, they know they can't actually engage, they can't, make any real arguments, so they just start saying goofy shit. And the thing is, while you're distracted by the shit you're supposed to be distracted by, while you're talking about the things you're supposed to talk about, the distractions you're supposed to talk about, things like the SCN, the Secure Community Network, this doesn't fluctuate with presidencies, or it's not once, it's just behind the scenes, and it just keeps getting stronger and stronger. Belch. And the crazy part is, like, this is where a lot of your American tax dollars goes. The amount of money that's taken from the people should easily pay for free education, redo the infrastructure, ensure that there's drug programs out there for people, ensure that there are homeless programs out there for people. Like, they take more than enough money from us. But yet we all live in this just, paycheck to paycheck, driving on shitty roads, passing homeless veterans everywhere. Like, it's a dystopian nightmare depending on where you are. Go to California. California is insane. What's being done to the Goyim population is insane. And it doesn't make anyone's lives better. Nobody is more safe. Nobody is more, is better off. The only people who benefit from the way things are the people who enjoy when other people suffer. That's why you became a farmer, because you're going to sustain yourself with goats. Karen, good morning. Good morning. Definitely an interesting few days we have going on here. I don't know if you happen to watch the previous videos, but we delved into Ian Carroll. We delved into Nick Fuentes. I even looked into Billy Carson as much as I could. It's like people are just blind, and you're blind to the point where you want to be blind, where you don't want to see it anymore. And guys like Ian Carroll and Nick Fuentes, they actually they prove that point. Like, these guys are talking about truther shit, the stuff that's the next level. All the blind people that want to be blind, these guys are the next step up. You're willing to peek, I'm not going to be blind as much anymore. I'm going to peek through just a little bit. You're willing to do that a little bit more than most. And that's who these guys are supposed to appeal to. But when you do that same scrutiny, that's, you question them the same way you question everything else, the narrative changes. People need to work for themselves. Not all people are capable. Not all people are capable of that. And the idea of working for yourself, to what degree? Not everybody, definitely not everybody's capable of being a farmer, and no one should have to do that. A farmer's life sucks. It's fantastic growing your own tomatoes, having a nice garden during the summer, and plucking the tomatoes off the vine and eating them and shit like that. That's all great. But to have to grow your entire family's food supply every year, that's not a fun life. I have Parkinson's and epilepsy. Wow, that sucks. And the thing is, you have Parkinson's and epilepsy. So you should, it's 2025. You should live in a society where, you're taken care of. You've contributed extremely well. If you're really a farmer who's done all this blah blah blah, then you've done more than your fair share. And you should be able to live a really good, comfortable, enjoyable life without having to struggle because of your contribution. Epilepsy and Parkinson's. Yeah, nobody with epilepsy and Parkinson's should have to work. You have to work every day just to live life. And this whole concept of like that you've been programmed to think that our purpose here is to work 40, 50, 60 hours a week at a job we hate for a guy we hate so we can barely make it, so we live check to check. Like, that's not why we're here. That's not what life is all about. Yet that's how we've been programmed to be. I'm beginning to get mainly delusioned with the whole truther movement shit. Finally? You're finally catching on? You've heard me saying it forever. Fake truthers, you have to acknowledge the fact that if you know who someone is, it's because they want you to know who that person is. You haven't seen too many people that do this better than me. I'm not saying I'm the best, but I'm saying I'm the best. If anybody should have made it to that position where they're being heard, it's me. Especially with the free music and everything else that comes with the program, with the productivity, the proliferation of everything that we do. I should be there. And you've seen it multiple times where my feed looks like it's about to start really working out really, really well. And then suddenly I'm kicked down to 3. This is... Most of the truthers are pushing some bullshit any way you slice it. Every single truther out there that tells you Jesus and God is the answer, they're fake. They're not someone that you should, that is lives up to the moniker of a truther. Because they clearly had to stop being said truther in order to maintain their Christian beliefs. You can't believe in Jesus and say that you're a truther. It just doesn't work that way. Yet that's literally all you see. And you're seeing it so much in the J questioning community. Dan Blazarian. Ooh, that's who I should look up today. Let's look up Dan Blazarian.
A good producer proves their worth each time. Sparkle. The Garth Knuckles tarbell on is soy. Salt in the game. The greats aren't the same. The frame needs a change. What you might see as strange, they strain to contain. Their main claims the spotlight.
Dan ELA Blazarian. I don't know how to spell his name. Well, nothing's populating.
Half empty or full, their bull will smash your china shop. They climb your top, then drop your face. The space they invade is an alien. Their fade begins and singes your hairline. Since they are the chair behind the mind you control, their hold is total. Their mold can cure your cancer.
BIL, that's why.
I don't need a doctor. I came with the surgeon. My word
Dan Blazarian.
keep your glorified nurse when
All right, let's see what they say about Dan Blazarian. Dan Blazarian, born December 7th, 1980. So he's an old top like me. You know that I know that, but I'm talking about the people I thought were sound. Like who? And why? Why did they, what did they do that made you think they were sound? Like, let's go into it. Go into it. Tell details, please. He gained Have a good day there, Farmer Stu. Doesn't mean you have to leave the feed. You can just put it in your pocket. You can keep learning, because this is about learning. He gained notability from about 2013 for his extravagant lifestyle and photos with scantily dressed female models on social media. He is the eldest son of businessman Paul Blazarian. Okay, so this guy's not supposed to be chosen? Is an American Armenian businessman and former corporate takeover specialist for 2 years while he owned the controlling stake. He was the chairman and CEO of Singer Corporation. In 1989, he was convicted on 9 felony counts of federal crimes, including criminal conspiracy, making false statements, securities fraud, tax fraud, and securities law violations, and sentenced to 4 years in prison and a fine of $1.5 million. He also lost a civil lawsuit to the SEC. In 2024, the Wall Street Journal reported that Blazarian had been on the run from the Securities and Exchange Commission for so long, 31 years, that he now owes the agency $180 million in interest. That's dumb. Blazarian was born in Miami, but grew up in Worcester, Mass. In an Armenian-American family. His father, Oscar, a civil servant, and his mother divorced while he was in high school. Called into the principal's office of his high school one day in his senior year in September 1968 for violating the dress code by wearing blue jeans, Blazarian reacted by dropping out of school. He would later describe himself as a juvenile delinquent. Sounds manufactured. Starting in December 1968, Blazarian served ultimately as a first lieutenant in the United States Army Signal Corps. Passed a high school equivalency exam and was deployed for a year during Vietnam, during which time he set up telephone systems and earned a Bronze Star Medal. Literally, like, this is always the story they give. It's actually really strange, right? This is always how things work. They were poor. They, they have weird details that shouldn't be known but are in the narrative for some reason. They have the military service where they didn't actually serve out in the shit and they earned a medal of some sort. When people like Miriam Adelson are getting medals, it completely diminishes what medals are worth. Belch. He first attended small Clark University in Worcester, then earned a Bachelor of Arts degree from Stanford. 1975, and a master's of business from Harvard Business School. How? His parents were divorced, and his father was a civil servant, but his mother didn't have a job. Who's paying for Harvard Business School? A Bachelor of Arts in 75 and a Master's in Business Administration from Harvard 2 years later. Is that how that works? Do degrees work where you get a bachelor and then 2 years later you get a master's? Especially if you get your Bachelor of Arts degree from Stanford in 75 and a Master's of Business Administration degree from Harvard Business School 2 years later. It might be. It might be. She said, is it little man Tate? He subsequently worked briefly in the treasurer's office of Forest Products Company, Crown Zellerbach Corporation in San Francisco, assessing merger opportunities. Blazarian married Stanford classmate Terry L. Steffen in 78 and moved with her to St. Pete, Florida. He sure is in the chosen areas of the country. Blazarian has 2 sons, and Dan Blazarian. Adam and Dan both went on to careers as professional poker players. Man, it must be nice. One of Blazarian's first business deals was in 78. Was a 78 investment in a Tampa Bay area radio station, WPLP. He made it, having borrowed money from his father-in-law with 2 Army colleagues from the Vietnam War who had experience in the broadcasting industry. While the radio station had been breaking even when they bought it. It lost $1.4 million in the first year, and he was removed from the board and fired. The station's performance deteriorated further. It filed bankruptcy in 1980, and lawsuits were filed by Blazarian and his former partners against each other. Blazarian then joined his father-in-law Harry in the real estate business in 1979. No. That's not how that works. You don't just join the real estate business. You have to, you have to get all the right licenses and shit. So he gets his master's in 77. In 78, he buys the radio station, loses a bunch of money. By 80, it's filing for bankruptcy. But in between 78 and 80, he joins his father-in-law in the real estate business, working on shopping center deals in Florida. His real estate investments were highly successful. In 1984, he moved to Sacramento, California, where his father-in-law and another business associate lived. That's some yada yada right there. Makes it sound easy. Makes it sound like, man, if I only had people with tons of capital and connections to invest in my products, gosh, I wonder if I would, do well from that. You think you could do well if you had friends with lots of capital that could funnel money into whatever you want, even if it loses money? And I'm not done yet. While also having the connections necessary to make, the deals possible. Do you think you could succeed in such a difficult environment? Corporate takeover attempts. In August of 85, Blazarian embarked on his first two high-profile, though unsuccessful, takeover attempts. One of New York clothing manufacturer Cloulette Peabody and Company, and the other of Pittsburgh construction company H.H. Robinson. I mean, where is the connection there? Where are the connections? So, businessman does the radio station, fails, then does some successful shopping center deals, whatever that means. Then is a clothing manufacturer, then tries his hand at construction. Done some research on DT, University of Pennsylvania. Graduated in 68 with a bachelor's degree in economics from the Warren School of Finance. Who's DT? Don't know who you're talking about. Oh, Donald Trump. Is that what you mean? He partnered with William Brodowski, owning 9.9% of the company, he and partner William Brodowski, owning 9.9% of the company, offered to buy Cloulette for $336 million because, we all have that, right? Belch. For $40 a share, half in cash and half in debt securities. But Cloulette's chairman and chief executive responded that management and the entire board of directors have absolutely no interest in pursuing your proposal. Why is this in his narrative? This is his Wikipedia fucking narrative. That was a quote. We have a quote from one of his people, from somebody turning down one of his deals. 2 weeks later, Cloulette announced that it had adopted a shareholder rights plan to prevent takeovers financed by the company's borrowing capacity or the sale of the company's assets. After Blazarian purchased a large stake and raised his bid for the remaining 76% of Cloulette Peabody in October, Cloulette's adoption of a poison pill led to public criticism of them by Blazarian. Cloulette eventually accepted a competing merger offer by West Point Pepperell, now West Point Home, for $41 per share in cash or equivalent stock value of West Point Pepperell common stock. Blazarian and his fellow investors agreed separately to sell their stake to West Point Pepperell for $40 a share plus reimbursement of $7.5 million in expenses. Blazarian moved back to Tampa, Florida in 86. So this isn't even a 10-year process yet. We're just talking about 8 years or so. $336 million. If I could just get $1 million, if somebody just invested $1 million in me, we would be extremely wealthy within a few years. Between the music, the children's books, the products, like people like us, even though we're crippled and poor and all this shit, we're still trying. It's literally, it's not a lack of drive or effort. It's a lack of finance. And especially if you're someone like me who, questions what I question and calls out the friars, it's going to be hard for you to find. Because people are going to deny that there's a friar conspiracy, but everybody knows that you don't want to anger the friars, because if you do, they'll fuck up your life. Right, because I clearly have a hard time getting weed. Yeah, that must be it. Blazarian moved back to Florida that July. He and fellow investors William and Earl I. Mack, sons of New Jersey real estate developer H. Burt Mack, launched a takeover bid against the Hammermill Paper Company, purchasing about 3.3 million Hammermill shares at an average price of roughly $47 per share, and then offering $52 per share, and then later $57 per share to purchase the remainder of the company. Blazarian's offer was ultimately rejected, and Hammermill sold out to International Paper instead for $64.50 per share. But Blazarian and his fellow investors still made a profit of $60 million or more from the deal. In 1987, Blazarian began a takeover of defense electronics manufacturer Singer Corporation. Wow, that's interesting. A sewing machine defense electronics manufacturer. Defense electronics manufacturer Singer Corporation. A sewing machine maker that had turned to producing a flight simulator for training pilots. That totally makes sense, right? They were making sewing machines and changing with the times, they decided to go into war. Gotcha. It became his first successful takeover attempt. In October '87, it came to light that the group of investors led by Blazarian had purchased 2.1 million Singer shares in the preceding 2 months. The October 1987 Black Monday crash spooked competing investors. Singer seemed an unlikely target for a takeover. Early reports cast doubt on the idea that the government would permit a hostile takeover of a defense contractor, and the company had already moved its headquarters from Connecticut to take over hostile New Jersey in an attempt to fend off a previous takeover attempt by T. Boone Pickens. Blazarian said that if he bought the company, he planned to dispose of its military business, or to depose of its military. Dispose of it. In January 1988, Pickens provided $150 million in financing, which helped Blazarian in a leveraged buyout of the company and owned a controlling stake. Blazarian named himself a director and appointed himself chairman. With a 1988 salary of over $600,000, he was its chairman and CEO from February 1988 through June 1989. Though he was not involved in day-to-day management, he was litigious. Fortune magazine wrote in March 1988, he sues not only his takeover targets, but the people on his own team, partners, lawyers who try to collect fees, even the bankers who finance him. In November 1989, the company filed for bankruptcy. I mean, this is so fucking nuts. This is just so nuts, man. But this explains, like, so when you go, hey, where did Dan Blazarian come from? Well, apparently, his father is this ultra wealthy guy who hobnobs in everything and knows all the right people. That seems pretty likely why this dude, who, like, this guy's ugly. Right? That's not. He has all these pictures of him with supermodels and blah, blah, blah. He's an Armenian citizen. That's weird. Daniel Brandon Blazarian was born on December 7, 1980 in Tampa, Florida, the son of corporate takeover specialist Paul Blazarian and Terry Steffen. He is the brother of fellow poker player Adam Blazarian and is of half Armenian descent through his father. What's the other half? What is Steffen? They seem to be weirdly, like, avoiding anything that has to do with his mother. Even look, like, His father has a thing, but his mother has nothing.
To not get caught, they must be smart. But only pedos with their
Who
on the stop.
is half Armenian descent through his father, who was a corporate raider on Wall Street and provided both his sons with trust funds. Blazarian said he studied for 4 years at the University of Florida, majoring in business and criminology, but dropped out of college to pursue a professional poker career. Blazarian played in the 2008 World Series of Poker main event, finishing 180th place in 2010. He was voted one of the funniest poker players on Twitter by Bluff Magazine. In November 2011, Blazarian was one of those sued by the estate of Bradley Ruderman over winnings from poker games, which were alleged to have been paid with funds from an illegal Ponzi scheme. In November 2013, Blazarian posted an unconfirmed claim that he won $10.8 million from a single night of playing poker. And in 2014, he said he won $50 million throughout the year, adding that he doesn't play against professionals anymore, and the most he's ever lost in a single session is $3.6 million. Blazarian has discussed his poker career on Joe Rogan's podcast. Blazarian has previously claimed to run the company Ignite International Brands Ltd., which sells electronic cigarettes, CBD oils, water bottles, and vodka, among other products. U.S. prosecutors allege that Blazarian's father, Paul Blazarian, retained de facto control of Ignite and improperly funneled money into to the company while owing more than $180 million to the U.S. Securities and Exchange Commission. The Jews. Dan Blazarian later said he was never directly involved with running the company. Ignite was a public company headquartered in Toronto, Canada, that began trading in January 2019 under the BILZF ticker and went private in June of 2022. The company reportedly lost over $50 million in 2019, mostly on marketing and office rental expenses. $50 million. Blazarian has appeared in the films Lone Survivor, The Equalizer, Cat Run 2, and Extraction, and authored the autobiography The Setup, which recounts his controversial life and lifestyle. Blazarian's appearance in Lone Survivor was provided to him in exchange for a $1 million investment in the film by Blazarian. Due to his drug abuse, Blazarian reportedly suffered 2 heart attacks before the age of 32. In 2014, Blazarian split his time between homes in Hollywood Hills and Los Angeles and Las Vegas. He moved to Los Angeles neighborhood of Bel Air in 2018. On August 28, 2018, Blazarian flew to Armenia with his brother Adam and father Paul to take their oaths to obtain Armenian citizenship and join the armed forces of Armenia. On the same trip, he visited the Republic of Artsakh, where he visited a shooting range and fired weapons there. The government of Azerbaijan sent a note of protest to the United States over these actions due to the contested status of Artsakh, and summoned U.S. Chargé d'Affaires William Gill to take an official note of protest addressed to the State Department. What the fuck? Okay, so what is this? Republic of Artsakh was a breakaway state in the South Caucasus whose territory was internationally recognized as part of Azerbaijan. Between 1991 and 2023, Artsakh, I don't know how you say it, controlled parts of the former Nagorno-Karabakh Autonomous Oblast of the Azerbaijan Soviet Socialist Republic, including its capital, Stepanakert. It had been an enclave with Azerbaijan from the 2020 Nagorno-Karabakh War, something none of you have heard of. I guarantee I haven't. Azerbaijan. No, I'm saying Trump's way. You're so dumb. You're so desperate. But see, that's it. You just proved that if I make some sort of mistake, if I'm wrong about something, you'll jump in and catch it. So now you're proving that all the other times where you don't tell me I'm wrong about stuff must mean I'm not wrong, or else you jump in and say it. Azerbaijan. When the Azerbaijani military took control over the remaining territory controlled by Artsakh, I don't know how to say that. Its only overland access route to Armenia. Its only overland access route to Armenia after the 2020 war was via the 5-kilometer wide Lakin corridor, which was placed under supervision of Russian peacekeeping forces. I mean, it's just crazy to think, like, even though they're supposedly their own autonomous this, that, and the other, look at their coat of arms. Wow. Sure is a lot of symbology there. Because, like every single one of those rays, the number of rays, whatever it is, like all of this shit, it all matters. The number of berries, the number of feathers. There's the olive branch, there's the berries. Who knows what it says? Like, isn't it strange that even though they're completely their own thing, they still use the same symbolism as everyone else? It's an unrecognized state recognized by 3 non-UN member states. Its official languages are Armenian, Russian. Ethnic groups, 99.7% Armenians, 0.2% Russians, and 0.1% other. Government, unitary semi-presidential republic until 2017. Unitary presidential republic from 2017. It has a president and prime minister. And it had, I don't think it exists anymore. 125,000 people. GDP 713 million. 4,800 per capita. They had their own currency. Interesting. There's so many places in the world you don't know where the fuck that you just have no idea. You're just more than likely you're some arrogant fucking American or especially if you're in the comment section, some arrogant Israeli, and you think you know shit. You don't know shit. A court in Baku issued an arrest warrant for Blazarian and put him on the international wanted list. Baku? What is Baku? Baku is the capital, largest city of Azerbaijan, as well as the largest city on the Caspian Sea and in the Caucasus region. The Caucasus, where they're like, yeah, that's what they mean when they say Caucasia. 2 years later, Blazarian and other members of his family donated $250,000 to the Armenia Fund to support Armenia and Artsakh during the second Nagorno-Karabakh war, declaring that he was very disappointed that Azerbaijan decided to attack the Armenian people. Political views. One thing I do like is that he is kind of raw and unfiltered. That honesty scares me less than These people that are so politically correct and they're just going to say whatever they're supposed to. I would rather somebody, even if I don't agree with his opinion, give it to me straight. Blazarian on his support for Trump. I just don't understand it. But then again, Blazarian is one of these truthers who is diehard Christian, Catholic, whatever. And he just like he was on the twins, the Happy twins. I don't know what their name is, I forget. But he was on there and they were talking about all kinds of things. They were talking about, because, you know, he's allowed to be the Jewish this, Jewish that guy. He's allowed to say the words. He doesn't get censored like other people we know do. But he was, you know, he was talking about Jesus, and one of the twins was like, wait, wasn't Jesus a Jew? And Dan's like, well, I tend to think, he was a Palestinian. Like, so you're just going to adjust the narrative to fit your narrative? That part always, like, bothers me. That's why I have such a hard time with my fellow truthers. Right? Because it's like they all do the same thing. They adjust things to believe what they want to believe. You know, their not credibility, but what the fuck is the word? Like their stand-upness, I can't think of the word, but their consistency in their arguments and who they are, it wavers. And that strong, intelligent person it takes to question the narrative goes away to maintain their, you know, usually it's Christian beliefs, right? You know, it's just strange to me how obvious Christianity is to me. And it's like for you to be somebody who knows stats and numbers and facts about all these obscure things that go against the friars, but then at the end of the day still call yourself a Christian and not see like, dude, they still have you. How do you not know where Christianity came from? I just don't understand the average Christian. What part of it's a friar fairy tale start to finish don't you understand? All of the main characters in the Bible are friars. All of them. Even Jesus. So why don't you for what it is? I don't understand. And look, there are the dumbass nonsense. Look at the comment section. Look at the crybabies just desperately whining and crying because they can't make any real arguments. I'm right. All this other bullshit is just it's the result of being unquestionably right when people still have a job to do. So they have to sort of interfere. They have to try to get attention some way, somehow. So they just start saying crazy shit. Look, you don't get fucking magnets like this just because, you know, somebody goes and buys them. You have to actually be qualified. And that says I rock. So, you know, you can't do anything about that, right? You can't keep crying when I rock. Sorry. It's not to show off or anything, but I actually have a second one. So, you know, that should tell you all you need to know. In 2015, Blazarian announced his bid to run for 2016 United States presidential election by December 15th. December 2015, however, he began supporting Donald Trump, stating that he is raw and unfiltered, eschewing political correctness and praising his pro-gun stance. Nothing says you got a tiny pecker like your love of guns. In 2024, Blazarian condemned Israel and expressed support for Hamas amid the Gaza war, referring to it as a resistance organization and calling its former leader, Yahya Sinwar, a hero. He's got a whole section on his anti-Semitism. Ooh, ooh, ooh. Blazarian has garnered controversy for his series of statements against friars and friarism as early as 2010, so long before it was popular. He has gone on record to say that the friar people perpetrated the Holodomor in the Soviet Ukraine. What is that? The Holodomor, also known as the Ukraine famine, was a massive man-made famine in Soviet Ukraine from 32 to 33 that killed millions of Ukrainians. The Holodomor was part of the wider Soviet famine of 1930 to 33, which affected the major grain-producing areas of the Soviet Union. Yeah, this is what I'm really scared of them doing to us again. While most scholars are in consensus that the main cause of the famine was largely man-made, it remains in dispute whether the Holodomor was intentional, whether it was directed at Ukrainians, and whether it constitutes a genocide. The point of contention being the absence of attested documents explicitly ordering the starvation of any area of the Soviet Union. Some historians conclude that the famine was deliberately engineered by Joseph Stalin to eliminate a Ukrainian independence movement. Others suggested that the famine was primarily the consequence of rapid Soviet industrialization and collectivization of agriculture. A middle position is that the initial cause of the famine were an unintentional byproduct of the process of collectivization, but once it set in, starvation was selectively weaponized and the famine was instrumentalized, in quote, and amplified against Ukrainians as a means to punish them for resisting Soviet policies and to suppress their national sentiments. Ukraine was one of the largest grain-producing states in the USSR and was subject to unreasonably high grain quotas compared to the rest of the USSR in 1930. Again, it's always interesting how, like, you don't realize it, but Ukraine has always been instrumental in their affairs, in their operations, in what they do. They've always used Ukraine against us. You just don't, these part, like the Havara agreement, it's not shoved in your face like the Holocaust is. So you just don't know about it. But it's interesting how much of this stuff is happening in 33, 32, 33 especially. Because the Havara agreement was signed in 33. And it's just all so coincidental, I guess, if that's what you're going to say. Like, I'm not even really sure. I don't know. Obviously, if you look at the comment section, there's no real arguments coming my way. And when you see that, what are you arguing with? This is what it says. But there's a main reason why Ukraine is such a big part of things, and it's not because of their grain production. It's because it's often called J Crane for a reason. Friar Crane. What people don't know is for 3 weeks prior to the unprovoked, completely unknown, taken, completely shocked, completely unplanned for Russian invasion of Ukraine,
7:38 a.m. Eastern Standard Time.
sorry, I was just listening to this shit. Prior to that, the unprovoked war, Israel was running 3 planes, 3 of the largest, whether it's the 747, 757, I don't know what the fucking largest plane is, but they were running 3 of those planes nonstop from Ukraine, from Kiev to Israel. Anybody that wanted to leave could get on the plane, come to Israel, and start collecting their check and living their life. Be given a mansion, all that shit. And I know so many of you don't think that that's real, but I guarantee you can't disprove it. Ukraine was largest. Wait. Sorry. Ukraine was one of the largest grain-producing states in the USSR and was subject to unreasonably high quotas. In 1930, this caused Ukraine to be hit particularly hard by the famine. Yeah, that makes sense. They're one of the largest food producers in the country, and they're the ones that are hit particularly hard by the famine. Go ahead and think about that for a second. Does that make sense? Right? Does that make sense to you? Does it make sense that the one of the top wheat producers or grain producers in any region would be the one place that was hit particularly hard when the famine came through?
I just want you to know.
Trying to do what?
Whatever you conclude, you can or can't.
Right. But outside of that. This caused Ukraine. Early estimates of the death toll by scholars and government officials vary greatly. A joint statement to the United Nations signed by 25 countries in 2003 declared that 7 to 10 million people died. More recent scholarship has estimated the lower range of between 3.5 and 5 million victims. Public discussion of the famine was banned in the Soviet Union until the Glasnost period initiated by Mikhail Gorbachev in the 1980s. Since 2006, the Holodomor has been recognized as a genocide by Ukraine and 33 other UN member states in the European Parliament and 35 of the 50 states of the United States. What? 35 of the 50 United States? What? That's fucking silly. As a genocide against the Ukrainian people carried out by the Soviet government. In 2008, the Russian State Duma condemned the Soviet regime, quote, that has neglected the lives of the people for the achievement of economic and political goals. This is just a rabbit hole that you're gonna just keep going down. So going back, he's gone to records the Holodomor in Soviet Union. They assassinated JFK in '63 and Muammar Gaddafi in 2011. Created the transgender nonsense. See, this is where it's they all do this, right? Isn't it strange that every single truther that is elevated to the highest positions truthers are allowed to be are Christians and bigots? Isn't that strange? How is that possible? How is it possible that every single one of them, Candace Owens, as much as that can be one, like all of them, Alex Jones, they're all Christians who all say the same shit. that transgender people are somehow a creation of things. That transgender people aren't just fucking people. But you'll never see Dan Blazarian or Nick Fuentes or anything like that interview someone like me. Interview me. You know, I guarantee at some point throughout their journey, they've seen something of mine. I've been doing this for so long and I've had so many millions of views that everybody that's in this circle, in this arena, has probably seen or heard something of mine. And orchestrated the September 11th attacks and the Iraq War, among other assertions and anti-Semitic conspiracy theories. He also stated that Nazi Germany flourished when Hitler removed friars from the banking system, and that Spain's golden age began because it expelled the friars at the end of the Reconquista in 1492. Yeah, well. Interesting, too, how literally every single one of these guys... See, this is the part that I've always struggled with. Is like, at the end of the day, what you believe is your choice. So, all these people who question everything, but then will be like, of course the earth is round. Of course the earth is round, because they tell us it is. You know. Of course there's no Tartaria, because they said it is. Of course 1492 Columbus sailed the ocean blue. Of course it is. Now there is some conspiracy theory around that. But of course it's true. Of course there's a Jesus. Of course 2,000 years ago, the Jesus story. Of course. Like they're all the same. All of the people that get elevated are the same. And it seems like, you know, very few people are questioning the reason behind that. Nick Fuentes being an incel, Nick Fuentes being a devout Catholic who thinks white people, like all the shit that he's on record saying. I mean, he could have changed, you know, I could talk to him and he could, you know, show that he's not that guy anymore, and okay, I'll take it. But they you know, they just, it's so strange how it works. Because if you know, if they elevate, like I always say, if they elevate people for us, that prevents people from elevating naturally or being elevated naturally. Because there has to be people out there saying these things, or else it would be weird. But they know if it was someone like me that was just elevated naturally, I'm going to say things that go beyond the limit. And Blazarian is a great example of it, where he's allowed to say some things that I can't say. But because he also says, you know, some really dumb shit, some really bad shit, it lumps him in that category. Like if he's a dumbass who says bad things, well then everything he says is dumb and bad. So all this, like, you know, by being a bigot towards transgender, towards gay, towards the way people are born, by being racist towards the way people are born, and because people are so foolishly thinking that friarism is a race, like they can control the narrative. They can control what people think. And so if they can make somebody lumped in and who he's a bad guy because he says this about this, well then all the rest of the shit he says just gets lumped in as bad too. And when you're talking about transgender and gay, you're talking about 40% of the population. I don't know, 50 if everyone was honest. You're immediately causing a divide in you know, eliminating one side of the support structure. The last thing they need is somebody that is non-racial and, well, look, biracial is better, because if, non-racial isn't a thing, but you can't have it be a black guy, you can't have it be a white guy. You have to have it be somebody that's experienced all sides of it, that knows racism firsthand, so when they speak on it, they're not, it's, you can't, and people can't just hide behind, oh, you're a racist, you hate black people, you hate white people. They can't use that against me like they can with most other people. And it can't be somebody that is, biased towards one of the fucking programs. And these are important aspects of things, and these are why certain guys are elevated. This guy is going to tell people to believe in Jesus, and at the end of the day, like, he's supposedly against Judaism, but he then tells people to believe in Jesus? Like, what are you, dude? The Bible that you supposedly think is so great is their book. It's their characters. It's their whole narrative. It creates this weird ass negative feedback loop that just, it like cancels itself out. The Jays are the bad guys. The Jays are the bad guys. Believe the Jay narrative. Believe the Jay narrative. The Jays are the bad guys. The Jays are the, like, it's just, it's fucking dumb. But it's, again, it's why these certain guys are elevated. Why they don't get in trouble like normal people do. In a 2024 interview with Piers Morgan, why they get to be interviewed by Piers Morgan, Blazarian argued that friarism, quote, promotes supremacy and rape and steals from other people as long as they're not friar, and that most of the problems today are caused by friar supremacy. I'd love to know what the counter arguments were. Yo. He invoked the term anti-Semitism as a misnomer, stating that the Palestinian people are the real Semites. True. He also stated that all Israeli friars are Eastern European Ashkenazi friars and don't have actual Hebrew DNA. Blazarian further argued that friars, quote, control the media and promoted the Holocaust denialism, saying that I would bet my entire net worth that it was less than 6 million. Blazarian followed up on his claim about the Holocaust by stating that friars, quote, killed more Christians than 6 million, and that they've basically invented genocide. I guess they're leaving out the part where he says they killed close to 60 million in Russia, the Stalin and the Bolshevik friars. That's the end of that quote that they like to leave out. Isn't it interesting how whoever wrote this leaves out the parts that they need? In 2014, Blazarian sued the producers of the film Lone Survivor. His lawsuit stated that he invested $1 million in the firm in exchange for at least 8 minutes of screen time and 80 words of dialogue, but his role was later reduced to less than 1 minute and just one line. His lawsuit demanded $1.2 million in the original investment plus 20%. The lawsuit was later dropped, and Blazarian said that he had generated $1.5 million in revenue as a result of his investment due to the film's commercial success. In August 2014, you bitch ass nigga, what's up? You didn't even leave me anything. Crazy motherfucker. In 2014, Blazarian was banned from a Miami nightclub for kicking model Vanessa Castano in the face during a brawl. Blazarian stated that Castano and another woman attacked Blazarian's female companion. Castano stated, there were 2 girls standing next to me at the table that were fighting. People started getting shoved, and I tried to separate them. Then Dan pushed me off the banquet, and once I fell, he kicked me in the face. Castano later filed a lawsuit against Blazarian for her injuries. It was reported that Castano had asked Blazarian for $1 million to settle the suit, citing the possibility of greater punitive damages based on his income if the suit went to trial. So her face must have been like mafustigated, right? Because Dan Blazarian is not a tiny guy. I mean, he might be short, but he's pretty buff. He's rich guy buff, where he can obviously afford the best supplements, the best food, the best everything to have that grizzled look about him. I really hate false accusations about people. I don't know if this one's false. I'm not saying this one is. I'm just saying I wonder if it is. Because something that never seems to happen is like, chicks will make accusations and there's no marks on them. And, that's just not possible. If a dude fucking blasts you in the face, you're gonna have, a mafustigated face. It's just what it is. Like, it's not, especially if he kicks you. In 2014, Blazarian was involved in a legal matter. Pornographic actress Janice Griffin. Griffin was featured in a photo shoot with Blazarian for Hustler magazine in April 2014. So I guess he does have a hog, which involved Blazarian throwing her off the roof of a house and into a pool. Griffin fell short of the pool, hitting the edge, and broke her foot. Youch! The 18-year-old asked Blazarian for $85,000 for her injuries, which she rejected. What a douchebag! That seems ridiculous, dude. You have millions of dollars. In December 2014, she filed a lawsuit against both Hustler and Blazarian. Blazarian's attorney responded that Griffin was under contract for the event by Hustler, that Hustler hired Blazarian for the event, and that Blazarian was not at fault. In January 2015, Hustler's attorney argued that the toss was an act of God and stated that it was not the publisher's fault that Griffin suffered injuries as a result. Are we fucking serious here? What happened with that? That's the end of that's the end of it. That's kind of weird. On December 19, 2014, Blazarian was arrested at Los Angeles International Airport on unrelated bomb-making charges. According to the Los Angeles Police Department, Blazarian was arrested on a fugitive warrant from Nevada and was booked at the LAPD Pacific Division around 10 p.m. Blazarian has been charged with violating a law making it a crime to possess an explosive or incendiary device with the intent to manufacture it. He was released from LAPD custody on the day of his arrest after charges were dropped, but was scheduled to be arraigned in January 2015 in Clark County, Nevada. In February 2015, Blazarian pleaded no contest to a misdemeanor charge of neglectly failing to extinguish a fire in the open, and was fined $17,231.50. In July 2020, former Ignite president Curtis Heffernan sued Blazarian for wrongful termination. Heffernan said that he was fired for criticizing Blazarian's misappropriation of company funds for his lavish lifestyle. In 2016, in October 2016, the rapper T-Pain released the song Dan Blazarian. That's pretty fucking crazy. That's how important this guy is. Well, yeah, I guess my fault. Just celebrating Hanukkah. Only never been a synagogue besides. I don't know what the fuck you're talking about. Hanukkah is a celebration of circumcision, you disgusting weirdos. There's no arguing that fact. There's no denying that fact. I mean, if you do, you're a dumbass. But that's what it is. I have two sons who will continue our heritage if they want. And I guess he can be mad at my sons too. If they're hateful, pedophile pieces of shit who commit genocide and support supremacy, then yeah, I will hate your piece of shit sons too. Just like I hate your piece of shit parents and the rest of your piece of shit family. You're a fucking douche. You're a horrible, horrible person. It's really disgusting. And as I continue to prove, like, I'm the savior for the J people. I'm the savior for the J children at the very least. I'm the one that's speaking out against what's going on. And the thing is, again, I think I've put together this puzzle in a way that's kind of undeniable. Because, the average dumb goyim that we are, we look at what goes on and we go, how does, as a group of people, how do they know about Matitza B'Peh and it being practiced pretty frequently and know about the ritualistic sexual abuse that's going on and all? How do they know all this stuff and just ignore it? How are they the people that are literally starving another people out right now, starving children and committing genocide in the worst, just most disgusting, horrible ways? How do the people just, there are videos of buses of them pulling into an area of a Palestinian area that's been cleared out, and they just go running out of the bus to claim whatever house they can. And that's how that works. They just go and they claim the house, and that's their house now. Like, it's just shocking. You'd think that's just some shit somebody says. Look it up. The videos are all over the place. And so you think like aren't they, as like the regular people, better than this? Because we're always told that, it's not the people, it's the Zionists. It's the Zionists at the top. And I'm not that guy. I don't push the Zionist conspiracy. It's definitely a part of it, but it's not, it's not Zionists that are stealing other people's homes. It's not the Zionists that are the bottom of darkness is about. The bottom of darkness is it's the Zionist, it's the secular, it's the Hasidiotic, it's everybody. This is part of their thing. And the bottom of darkness article is in the description. People can't help what they're born into, and it's not just the I know what you're saying, but watch your eloquence. Huh? They can't help what they're born into? Yeah, they can. What are you talking about? Are you saying if you're born into something, that's what you have to be? As an adult, when you have a choice, and you could not only not do it, but be a voice against it, and because you are it makes your voice even stronger. Therefore, standing up for the children that are just being tortured. And instead of that, you're gonna be, well, I gotta just continue it. Instead of doing any of that stuff, I just got to close my eyes and continue it and pretend like I don't have anything to do with it. How do we know that anybody on here isn't just as guilty as what we know they do? And that's what I'm saying. You ask yourself, how can a people do such obviously horrible things without any seemingly remorse or anything? You know, they act like it's not even their fault, and you know, they just are. How can regular people be that way? And when you associate the bottom of darkness, it makes all the sense. It completes the circle. You know, when from young children they're victimized in the worst ways, while also being told that they're special because they're victimized. So in doing so, you almost make the abuse like this thing that they cherish because they were special enough to get the abuse. And if it's not because they're special, then they were just abused. And that's not something people want to think. But you abuse them while they're very young. And then once they age out of the abuse, you force them to abuse other children. Again, completing the circle. So now they can't even speak out against what was done to them because they're just as guilty. And you tell them that not only are they special for being abused, now if they want the transcendence and the redemption that abuse, that they need because of that abuse, they need to be redeemed because they were abused. Really fucking psychotic. Now they have to abuse another child because that's where the second part comes into place. That's where their own personal redemption comes through and their own personal transcendence comes through. And this isn't my words. This isn't even Goyim words. This wasn't some Goyim investigation. Israel's own. Israel's number one free weekly newspaper, propaganda, whatever. This is a Sheldon Adelson baby. This is Sheldon Adelson's like pride and joy baby, or was before he died. Now it's Miriam. And everyone at Israel, it's not, there's no Goyim working there. There's no Goyim editors, reporters, computer people, none of it. It's literally all them. And even the good guys say the worst of the worst things possible. Multiple times throughout the article, they try to say, this happens all throughout the world. Don't just think this happens here. This happens all through, at least 4 or 5 times that statement is made, that this happens all throughout the world. What about what they're doing over there? Can't just blame us. What about what they do, right? Then another couple times it's mentioned that the reason why so many of these cases, if they're even, brought to the police almost immediately close the case with no investigation, is because the Israeli police just don't have the funds and the resources necessary to do proper investigations. This is what the good guys are saying. This is what the doctors and the psychiatrists and the people writing the article exposing the problem, these are the excuses that are made. And then by far the worst one is that and the doctors say this, that the abusers make the abuse so horrible that the parents, who more than likely experience the same abuse themselves, don't believe their children when they tell them about it, because it's just it's so drastic. Like, that's a real thing. Like any parent out there could be told by their child that someone had abused them horrifically, and you would be like, stop lying. Right? Is that even a thing? Is that a does that even make sense? The source is in the description. Israel Hayom, Hayom. I've already said this, but I guess, again, inbred stupidity doesn't pick up the details. Hayom, and the article is called Bottom of Darkness. It was published in April of 2025. Brand new article. Strangely enough, not picked up by any other source. This is the most horrific shit, but it also explains everything. It explains everything. It explains how a people can just take over another people, genocide another people, and not think twice about it. Pretend that they're the victims because of it. It's just, and again, look at the ones on the feed who are, admittedly friars themselves. They're not going, oh my gosh, this is so atrocious. Oh my gosh, we need to do something about this. This makes our people look bad. I can't believe this is a tradition, blah, 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 blah. We got to stop Matitza Bapeh. We got to eliminate the idea that women's vaginas are fucking toxic and need the mikvah. They don't say anything like that. What do? They attack the guy that's saying it. I'm the one saying that little friar children should be treated better, shouldn't be so abused. And they're making me out to be the bad guy. Listen to this excuse. Oh, so somebody writes something and it's magically real, and because you believe it, it's true. Yep, that's what it is. Because some random person, not Israel Hayom, Israel's #1 free weekly paper. It's not the Inquirer. It's a legit paper, created and funded by Sheldon Adelson, and then after he died, his foundation. Yeah, that's what it is. I'm just being crazy. I'm just crazy. Not holy shit, I can't believe it. No, that's just not true. Now you see, this is the level of what we're talking about. When exposed, the average dumb fucking inbred, probably abused himself, piece of shit friar, says, oh, you're lying. That's not true. When hearing about the worst things, they don't have a reaction to it like normal people do. Apparently, not only am I lying, but Israel Hayom is lying. All the doctors that were quoted, the Silbergs and the Rabbi Furmans and all, those are all just liars. Look at this shit, man. Look at the. Oh, I'm just enjoying myself. This is who they are. This is the mentality of someone that was abused and then abused themselves. The friars, the genocide supporters, the Trump supporters, they say the same things over and over again. That's why I always have a response ready, because I know there's only a few different things they're going to say. I can't tell you how much I appreciate the example, you know. I never fear what they're gonna say because they can't say anything. But I've never had an intelligent one of them come through and even try to make sense of it. It's just this shit. Now watch, he's digging the hole. So now it's gonna be like personal shit. Now I'm gonna be the bad guy because of whatever. Like there is no acknowledgement of the information other than to say it's made up. And like I say, you wonder how can a parent hear their child say, this horrific abuse has happened, and the parent says, "Oh, you made that up." Well, here you go. Here's your example of it. Let's see. Yep, now I can't afford Wi-Fi. There we go. Is Wi-Fi tend to be better by the tree? Yep. This is what it is. Now we're gonna start with dumb personal shit, because that's what you try to do. These are facts, just like the weather. That's funny, I guess. You tell me instead of this is one of these exercises that would be really great to see for once. So instead of saying something stupid or vague, why don't you pick one specific thing I'm getting wrong and focus on that? Tell me what I'm getting wrong, how it's wrong. Cody Cohen, that makes a hell of a lot more sense, doesn't it? Not one fucking word about how horrible and wrong the pedophilia and the abuse is. Yet continuously trying to shoot the messenger. He's crazy. He's crazy. You're crazy. You need meds. You're crazy. Why are you saying these crazy things? The Israel Hayom, they were lying. All those rabbis, they were lying. All those doctors, they were lying. All that, the heads of trauma therapy at this place and this place in Tel Aviv, they were lying. It's fucking insane, man. It's just crazy. But a lot is two words, unless you're saying like you're trying to allot for your stupidity. If I'm allotting for your stupidity, then it's one word. But a lot is two words. A lot of people are anti-friar, so I left my name off. Why do you think that is? Why don't we ask the poor friar? Why do you think so many people hate you guys? Because it's all wrong, and I said that because I'm a bot and I'm not real, so I'm past acknowledged your lies. Sure you did. Where? Maybe you should prove this live in the air. That show them. They don't show shit. This is popcorn worthy. Ignorance is only possible if you don't give the truth a chance. Open some books, listen to other sides of the argument, just assume. Ellie is a dumb bot. We've definitely proven that. But here, let's ask Cody Cohen. Come on, Cohen. Why does everybody hate you so much that you had to leave your real last name off because you're a coward? You knew that having that last name would make people hate you. Why does everybody hate you guys so much? Is it because you're so good and charitable? Is it because you're such good people and you help the world so much that people hate you for it? Let's see how Ed Fryer intelligence can answer questions. How much you want to bet he doesn't even attempt to? Or he'll say something stupid like everyone's jealous. Because they're jealous? Kicked out of 109 countries in the last 1,000 years. At least according to the bullshit narrative we're given. We don't actually know that. That's, You start getting into the 150, 200, even 100 years ago, and the history gets so convoluted, who knows what the fuck it is. But they're also dumb enough to say, if you open up the books on Israel, you demonize Israel. So the idea that they thought saying that they were kicked out of 109 countries in the last 1,000 years would make them the victims, it wouldn't surprise me at all if they're the ones that push that narrative, not realizing what it truly says about them. You know, I never say if you open the books on me, you're going to demonize me. You know why? Because I don't have a whole bunch of horrible shit in my books that you could expose to the world and it would demonize me. But in late 2022, I believe, 21, 22, over that winter area, the UN was talking about doing an investigation into Israel because it sure seemed like it was a colonization. It didn't seem like the temporary occupation it was supposed to be. And the excuse given was you can't open the books on Israel because that would demonize Israel. And it's just like, and it worked. It worked. Well, we don't want to do that. How can you demonize someone that's good? Something that's good. The Talmud is a sacred J book like their Bible. It's the most books, or it's the highest of their books. They're told to tell you it's the Torah, but the Talmud is the book. And the shit inside the Talmud is shocking. You know, if the girl is 3 years and 1 day old, as long as she's 3 years and 1 day old, once you violate her, you owe her, you own her, and you're responsible for paying the dowry to the family. Now, if a goyim were to do that, you gotta kill him, obviously. But if they do it, they now own that child. Like, it's just so fucked up. There's so many fucked up things. Let's see, mass hate from people that has been nonstop for hundreds of thousands of years. Hundreds of thousands of years? Wow, talk about an exaggeration. I was not alive for why the J people are hated, so I don't hate or dislike anyone. That makes no sense. And you're so stupid you can't even answer the question. That doesn't answer why people hate you so much. Well, it's been hundreds of thousands of years. Hundreds of thousands of years. Or hundreds of thousands of years. What a dumbass thing to say. But that's exactly what I'm talking about. This is what they do. They can't answer the question. It's not, they don't go, well, it's because of how we treat people and our arrogant attitude and our constant, like when people talk about the 109 countries thing, they never talk about why. And one of the big reasons is just like why Hanukkah is celebrated, it's circumcision. Because regular people were like, hey, what the fuck are you doing? Why is he sucking on it? What's going on here? And that shit, when they were like, no, that's what we need to do. We're going to go around and kill so Hanukkah is the celebration of the Maccabee revolt. The Maccabee revolt is because Johann Maccabee in minus 200 something decided that he didn't like the fact that practice in particular, circumcision, was banned. And so he went around, because somehow, back in those days, you could travel all around the country really, really easily. And apparently he knew where all the other friars lived. He went from friar house to friar house, forcibly, giving them the option. Either you agree to circumcise and circumcise all the kids in the house, circumcise all the males in the house, or we kill you. And anybody that didn't agree to it, they got killed. That's the truth. And those that didn't get killed, those that went along with the program, were now absorbed into the army that then went around the country. All these freshly circumcised guys are God speeding around the country on horseback and marching, I guess. I don't fucking know. Going around killing their own people who refused to join the group. And eventually they fought against the kingdom of the time, and they won back the right to circumcise. That's what Hanukkah celebrates. I spread no hate, and I just have the other man a chance to succeed without unneeded hate for my choice of religion. You said it right there. Your choice. Your choice. It's not something you have to do. It's a choice. You choose to be a part of a supremacist, hateful, pedophilic organization. And you want to be like, why didn't everybody hate me? Again, I always make the comparison, but if somebody was like, I'm a NAMBLA member, could they say anything to you that would make you be like, oh, okay, you're cool? Even if they said, look, I don't partake in any of the man-boy love, but I do belong to the organization. I give them money. I vote in favor of the organization. I partake in the events where they set up a huge event with lots of kiddie rides and shit, and thousands of kids come through. And yeah, a couple of kids are recruited, are hunted out, picked out of the group to be violated. But thousands aren't. And I'm there for all those. Does that somehow make them okay? Is there anything they could possibly say to make them okay? Hundreds, if not thousands. Oh, okay. This in and out audio makes it hard to make an argument against you if you can't hear half of your discussion. Sure you can't. Go outside for a better connection. Sorry, this is insane. Usually when I go inside, my connection is flawless. Yeah, you have to ask yourself, why would my connection be so fucking interfered with when I live in the suburbs of Detroit, surrounded by nothing but cell phone towers, flat land? Why is there such a weird bubble, if you will, around my house? I'm sure it's just, again, me being crazy, right? Because I was just so crazy. I was just so crazy.
Just like the daddy-daughter dances. Really weird. Some animals are Buddhist.
Where the hell did I... Is my charger up there? What's wrong with you? Oh, yeah, it's in the back. Let's see if this makes things any better. Ooh, that shit's so good. Yell at his wife. Yep, here I am yelling at my wife. Come on. Come on. You can do it. Don't go anywhere. Why? Come here. Why do you have these fucking things on you, dude? All right, come on. Let's go. Come on. That's a good boy. Thanks for being good. We have these weird things that like stick to they just stick. So strange. I don't know what they are, but much better connection. It's crazy. They're zapping your house with something. Huh? You can see what you want to see. If you can explain it any other way, then I'm all for it. I mean, essentially my house caked in aluminum siding should be a conductor, should be an antenna. It shouldn't make the connection more difficult. But now that you have your connection, make your point. Come on. Now that you don't, now that the excuse is gone, now what's the excuse? Why do you support pedophilia? If you're a good person and you don't support pedophilia, why would you belong to the organization that does? Yeah, this is not going to last long. It's cold as fuck out here. Shit makes my shit hurt. You don't support it. Do you speak out against it? No. And this isn't some like weird side custom. This is the number one mitzvah. It's as important as anything else, and nothing else is more important. It's one of the number one mitzvahs. This is super important. This is a huge, big part of it. So we're you know, again, you don't get to say you're a NAMBLA member. You just don't, you know, you don't do it. Yeah, all of you are wrong. You're all wrong. It's weirdo. All of you are wrong for supporting the shit. Fix your bike, man. Why don't you fix your bike? You don't know how to fix your shit? Take it off the big one. Put it on the small one. Okay, now put it on the big, now pedal forward. Lift up the back tire. There you go.
It keeps slipping.
Well, I mean, but it's better than, if it keeps slipping, it's still better than walking it.
What I gotta do to make it stop?
You gotta take one of the links out, and I don't know how to do that. Or you know what? Here, wait. Hang on. This boy ain't no daddy around, so somebody's gotta do it. Him to do it. Move. All right. You're doing it. I'm not doing it. So, grab the back bolt. Grab the nut right there. Okay. To the left. Nope, other way. You got to be on the bolt. Be on the bolt. Okay. No. Here, wait. Okay, so open it up. That's too big. There you go. Now, here. You got to have it down on the nut. And left is this way, okay? So that's one side. Go to the other side. No, don't take it off. No. So go this way. Okay. No, you pay for the whole thing, so use the whole thing. No. As soon as it slips off, you got to stop. Okay? So, oops. It's too small. It's too big. Okay. So grab it. Right there. Now push down. No, gotta go up. Come on, don't strip. Don't strip. There you go. Okay. So it loosened. Okay. Now, pull this back. Try to knock the back tire as far back as you can. Okay. Here. Now, grab the thing. Open it up. Here, it's okay. We'll get it. Open it up. Put it on the second thing. Nope. The second one. Yeah. No. That might be. Maybe go one more. No, that's the right one. That's the right one. Okay. Put it on there. Now, remember, we're going to go down with it. Okay, so hang on. Did you tighten it already?
Yeah.
Okay. Now tighten it. No, other way. Go down with it. There you go. Okay, come to this side.
Is that better? Look, it's almost on.
Huh?
It's almost on.
That's okay. Hang on. Oops. All right. This is off. So, go back with it. Open it up and loosen it this time. Here, let's see. Can we slide that back in? No. Okay. So now you got to go this way with it, right?
So this way?
No, this way to loosen it. Okay, wait. Okay. Put it back on. It's on. Okay, so now we want to tighten it right there. Here, hang on. So, tighten this side with my hand, just to get it to lock. There you go. Now try. There you go. You gotta let go. There you go.
Yeah, we do.
Okay, and to the other one. Don't tighten this side too much. Gotta have them be even. Nope, you're not on it. And this one you gotta go the other way, I believe. Is it tightening?
I don't know. Maybe it is this way.
Wait, let me see. Yeah, you gotta go up with it. Other way, other side. Flip it over. There you go. Open it up. Hang on. How do we slide back so much? All right, let's see. Can I loosen it just a little bit? Go the other way with it now. Okay. Is it loose? All right, there you go.
It's missing over there.
Hang on a sec. Let's see. Do I have another thing to use? I think I do. I might have to lose signal for a minute. But that's okay. Ugh. Where are my channels go? Oh, wow. Alright, so that one's loose. We gotta loosen the other one. Okay. So loosen the other one. You remember which way to loosen it? No, other way. Shit. No, it's not. Alright, now, there we go. Alright, so let's slide it in. Oops. It's okay. Cellular. So you got to get that washer on the outside. There you go. Same thing with this side. There you go. Okay, so I'm going to hold this side while you tighten that side. Remember which way to tighten it? Open it up. No, open the thing up to the second thing. There you go. Oh, wait, we slid back some. Okay, so go back to the other side, right? Here, let's try to tighten it by hand as much as we can.
It's like I'll tighten it.
That's, yeah, that's fine. Okay, hang on. All right, go ahead. Okay, don't tighten it too much. Alright, that should be good. It's not moving. Now do the same trick again. You missed. It should stay on a lot better now. I mean, it might, but it won't as easily. When you can't buy a new bike, you gotta fix it.
Maybe it's because
oil. It does need grease. I don't know if we have any. Let me see if I have some. Do have some. Spin it. Pick up the back side, spin it. There you go. Come on. Oh, shit stains. Go, spin it. Let's see. All the pressure's gone. That's weird.
Because it's cold. Let me try.
No, it's because it's old. Yeah, it's not gonna come out. There's no more pressure left in it. I didn't know that could happen. Let's see, maybe we can get it to come out like this. Yeah, there we go. See, there's always a way if you just think your way through it. Spin it. Hang on. Does it feel easier yet? Go ahead. Let's get some over here. You can just keep spinning that one. Oh yeah, that's working good now. Oh. God damn, aren't you over this shit? Whew. Just think your way through it, man.
Okay. But after we got better, I'll be around the corner.
Do what you gotta do, man.
I just got off early, so.
Do what you gotta do, man. Did he just steal my roaches? Oh no, they're in my pocket, right? No, they're not in my pocket. I swear they were just sitting right here. That fucking kid just steal my roaches. Wait a minute. That didn't just happen. That kid didn't just let me help him and then steal my roaches. Oh no, they're right here. He did steal one of them though. Oh no, there's the other one. Okay. I was gonna say, that doesn't sound like him, but they weren't in the normal spot. There we go. So you know, big asshole, helping neighborhood kids walking by. Teaching, not doing. Can't do much. Can't teach them. Weird world we live in, man. That kid is... He's a good kid, like, deep down. But he's as dumb as it gets. He was raised by stupid trash, and he never actually stood a chance. It's really fucking... It's really sad. Yeah, it's crazy how our previous generations were taught to hit children. You know, when it comes to the previous narrative, at this point, you know, where does your arrogance kick in? And I know that's a weird thing to say, but the truth is, that's all it is. Your arrogance kicks in which things you choose to believe. None of you believe Oswald shot Kennedy. No, none of you. And yet, you know, you're willing to say that the government is lying to you. The official narrative is lying to you. You know it. You're insulted by it. You'd be insulted if somebody tried to get you to believe it. It's just bad all the way around. And yet, when that same government tells you we went to the moon, you go, okay, I guess we did that. I believe that. Based on nothing. Based on some really poorly done TV shows. When that government tells you to go out, and yep, it's time for yet another booster shot. You know, I know you got the big one. We told you it was going to protect you, but there's this new thing that you need to be protected from. So go get this next one. Oh, and then here's another one. Oh, and here's another one. Oh, and here's another one. You know, your self-preservation instincts and your logic kicks in and you go, no, I'm not going to do that. You're lying to me. The system is lying to me. They're telling me to do something I should not do. And in doing so, it's arrogance, right? You decide that you're not going to listen to what you're told to listen to. I got hit with a wooden spoon at least once a week growing up. It didn't do anything but make me hate the people around me. I maybe spanked my kids with my hand, 3 and 5 times or so. And I hated it, and I stopped doing it so early in their lives that neither one of them remember it. And it wasn't even that significant. And it just made me feel like a savage. It made me feel so awful. It made me feel so wrong. Like, these people trust me with everything. They trust me with their lives. They love me more than anything, and I'm hitting them. In what reality is that how the world works? So instead of teaching them, because there is no situation in the world where you fuck up and somebody smacks you on the ass a bunch of times. Like, that shit doesn't exist in real life. So from an early age, from the beginning, I talk to my kids in a way that even my wife sometimes is like, you can't do that. Like, why? What am I, I'm not going to sit here and lie to them. At a very early age, my oldest told us there was no Santa Claus. Thought the whole thing was just ridiculous. But my youngest still believed it, and I don't know, like 4 or 5 or something. I didn't want him thinking that we lied to him. going to lie to you. Why are we going to lie to you? He got upset about it. I don't know if I made the right decision on that time. But it didn't. It helped him along the way quicker. Prove we haven't been to the moon. I don't have to prove the outrageous thing. You do. You prove we've been there. They get their ass beat. Do they? Do they need to know they get their ass beat, or do they just need to know it's wrong and not to do it because it's the wrong thing to do? My kids are good kids not because they fear their father's wrath. My kids are good kids because they want to be good kids. Because they've been talked to reasonably. And violence begets violence. Can't not to be violent by being violent towards them. If you don't have kids, then you have nothing to say. But if you have kids pretending like the best thing you do parenting wise is being violent towards them is just delusional. I got spanked a lot of times in my life, and not a single fucking time was I, in the aftermath of the spanking, couldn't sit down, was crying, and hyperventilating and all upset. Did I ever go, you know what, I deserve that. I definitely learned my lesson there. No, every single time I got spanked, I thought, I hate her, I hate them, I hate the person doing it. I'll never do this to my kids. This is bullshit. And I got spanked for multiple things, multiple times. Spanking didn't curb anything. You didn't, it kept you from being honest. It kept you from being, truthful, but it's fucking insane. My parents beat me and I swore I'd never hit my kids and I didn't. You shouldn't. On the same thing.
I have Chloe locked up in Nick's room because they each have a bone. So Mo will be done in a minute, but I don't know how long Rolly will be. I'm just trying to get my coffee.
Are they supposed to be here?
1 o'clock.
Oh, okay. Yeah, we didn't go to the moon. That's fucking stupid. What's your take on black kids being disproportionately worse behaved than going on to commit way more crimes, black on black violence, teen adulthood? Well, that's ridiculous. It's ridiculous, and then at the same time, there's truth to it. When you incarcerate the male population over stupid things like a gram of weed, when you ruin lives and force people, it's so much deeper than just like surface shit. You have to look at the entertainment industry and the role models black people have been given and the lifestyle that black people have been forced into taking and the drugs that have been funneled into the community. Some black guys on the street corner didn't have a copious amount of cocaine sitting around and they were like, how can we make crack out of this? Let's mix up this ingredient and this ingredient. Oh, well, that didn't work. Well, let's try this one and this one. Crack cocaine is high-level chemistry, just like methamphetamines is high-level chemistry. Some fucking hillbillies didn't figure that shit out. Let me just mix some Sudafed and some fucking battery cleaner and, What the black community is been manufactured to be the example. Not just the slave race, but the example to the white people that it could be this way for you. So as long as you follow the rules and you say the chosen people are the chosen people and whatnot, then at least you don't have to be the black people. But blacks are the scapegoat. Blacks have been made into the scapegoat. It's It's literally all by design. But in the reality, when have you ever heard the term white on white crime? When have you ever heard the term Christian on Christian crime? You know, it's all in how it's presented to you. People love to say, like, when you say that black people are killed by police a whole bunch of the time, right? White people will go, no way, white people are killed 61% of the time by police. Black people are only killed 33% of the time. And you go, okay, well, if you look at the population and you say white people make up 69% of the population, unless, of course, racistly, you say, those with Hispanic in their backgrounds, you take those people out, it's still 55% of the country. Black people make up 13% of the country. So when you have 69% of the population being killed 61% of the time, as opposed to 13% of the population, black people only make up 13% of the population. That's all of black people too. That's not just the scary young black guys that you're scared of, the thugs. That's all black people, make up 13%. The thugs only make up like 4 or 5%. That 13% is killed 33% of the time, well, that makes that number look differently. And so you also have to take into consideration that police the black neighborhoods way more than they police the white neighborhoods. And the penalties are different. When you make the penalties for cocaine one thing and the penalties for crack so much harsher, it's by design. So when rich white kids are caught with some cocaine, and because of who their family is or whatever, they don't even get the charge. Or if they do get the charge, they can pay for a good lawyer to fight it and all that shit. Compared to the young black kid with some crack on him. Plus the penalties are just immediately stiffer to begin with. Like it's all by design. If you're going to look into it, you have to look into it from all sides. Black people have been systematically destroyed and made into this really shitty version of the population. Sagging pants and fucking goofy ass long t-shirts and, or the skinny jeans. And it's all just, and if you look at it from an even deeper point of view, you look at like just the creation of rap in itself. And there's that whole memo, that whole interview that took place between the rap stars of the day. It's been documented a couple times. The one dude from Bone Thugs and Harmony talks about it. But the prison population is directly, the prison ownership is directly connected to the music industry. And they literally put out the memo, put out the narrative that either you're going to be with us or you're against us. And what we're going to do is only produce the worst of the worst hip-hop music. If you look at black music prior to Niggas with Attitude dropping on 8888, black music was starting to be all about learn your history, know your roots, dance, have a good time, getting jiggy with it. Black music wasn't about, there was the part of it that was documenting what was going on in the hood. But then there was the other part that was about, enjoy being black. Black is powerful. Black is beautiful. Black is good. And there was this huge black pride movement in the late 80s with the advent of Malcolm X being put out by doofus Spike Lee. By manufactured pawn Spike Lee. But you have to look at what it is by design. And they put out the thing that they're going to fill the prisons and they're going to use the music industry because they realize how influential it is to create the thug persona. And basically not just the thug persona, but the idea that if you're not the thug persona, you're not a man. It was a lot a lot, you know, deeper seated than just being a thug. You know, if you're not a thug, you're a fucking pussy. If you're a smart guy, you're stupid. You know, they really push that narrative. And when you look at who's behind it, like even the whole Snoop Dogg, Dr. Dre, Death Row, niggas with attitude, shit like that. This is Jerry Heller and Jimmy Iovine. You know, the whole thug music personality bullshit is all manufactured by More Chosen. They're the ones who manufactured everything. And until you're willing to acknowledge that part, you know, you can't have the conversation. You take all the males out of the situation. You have, you know, females believing, you know, I mean, look at how you'll see, you know, just regular pictures of black women like going out or whatever, and they pose by turning their ass to the camera. Because they've been made into these robots who think, you know, their ass is their best asset. Like, it's all just design. It's all designed to be a certain way. And it worked so well that they did it to white people. They just disguised it as country music. You know, they used country music the same way they used rap music on black people. They used country music on white people. It's really crazy. The whole redneck character was a creation. You go, you know, you go look at like old videos of people from the South, and they won't talking like this all the time, dingle, dingle, dingle. But over the years of Beverly Hillbillies and Hee Haw being extremely influential in that regard, you had a bunch of gay friars pretending to be moron rednecks. And the shit took off. And then using what country music became, it just morphed into that. You know, rednecks are the same thing as thugs, as niggas, as, you know, it's the same thing. It's this really awful trash personality that, you know, real stand-up people, they don't gravitate towards it. But again, you have to look at MK Ultra kind of shit. You have to look at the idea that black people have been tricked into committing crime at the utterance of a word. All you got to do is drop an N-bomb, and regular black people who are just normal, going about their day, will commit crime, will commit assault, will act a fucking fool because some random white person says the key phrase, says the code word. And then you have black people like Jesse Jackson and Al Sharpton and shit having funerals. We're going to bury the N-word. So stupid. White cops out of black neighborhoods. You wouldn't have that problem. I mean, you have to deal with the systemic racism that just exists. One of the biggest reasons why there's so much racism is the big black dick myth, that all black guys have a huge dick. And I know white guys aren't going to admit it, but that's the real catalyst behind so much of racism. Because white guys know that no matter how much money they make, no matter how much power they have, at the end of the day, they can't satisfy their woman like the big gorilla dick could. And that's something I know, you know, women think that men don't care about their, you know, whether they get off or not. We all do. We all want to be the best you've ever had. And you know, as soon as, you know, ask any white chick. As soon as her white boyfriend, if he doesn't have a big dick, As soon as he finds out she's been with a black dude, he acts differently towards her. Because he just assumes the black guy had a huge cock and just gorilla fucked her. And it's not always true. Right? Why isn't your channel monetized? Ah! Come on, dude. Why do you think? If you want to donate, go to www.the-bilderberg, group.com. The link is in the description. And grab your free download. And if you care to donate, just donate through there. And while doing that, you get a free download. All you have to do is put 0 in the payment box to get the download. But if you want to donate, just say you want to pay that much for the download. It's definitely appreciated. But my channel isn't monetized because I go against the rules, man. You can answer your own question. Your question is the answer itself. Why isn't this channel monetized? That should tell you something. I'm a Jewish rabbi. I'm new to the channel. What do you talk about normally? Right, the Who Cares profile is a rabbi. Gotcha. You know what I want to talk about? I've talked about it already, but the thing that happened in Europe a couple weeks ago, where the guy supposedly drove his car into the group of people, yet didn't manage to kill anybody. And the people that were killed were clearly killed by the cops. One killed by a gunshot, and dude didn't have a gun on him. Somehow drove his car into a bunch of people, and they all survived. Thing about the UK too is the UK is full of surveillance equipment everywhere. One of the most heavily surveilled areas in the world. So where is the footage? Where's the surveillance footage showing this event taking place? Surprisingly, it doesn't exist. But what nobody's talking about, and of course, because the perpetrator was killed, we don't get to know his motivations other than what they tell us they are. But why was this dude trying to get into this room where behind the closed doors there was a bunch of elderly people and children? Make that one make sense. Why were elderly people hanging out with children on Yom Kippur of all days, which is the Day of Atonement, the Day of Redemption, the Day of Transcendence, especially when you know the bottom of darkness side of things that says they believe violating children is how they achieve transcendence and redemption. And the holy, I am who cares. Sure. I don't know which one you're talking about. You have to be more specific. But think about that, man. Why were all those adults, those random children in that random room with those random elderly people on Yom Kippur? Where were the parents? What was going on in that room? You know, why aren't they, as a people, coming out and going against Matitza B'Peh? Matitza B'Peh is among the worst things that anyone does. And it just continues on. Like the ritualistic sexual abuse that is everywhere in Israel is, and this isn't my narrative, just so fact checkers and shit wanna get upset. The Bottom of Darkness article is supplied for you in the description. It's provided by Israel Hayom, Israel's #1 free weekly propaganda page. propaganda newspaper. It's Sheldon Adelson's baby. It was his pride and joy was Israel Hayom. Everyone involved is a friar. There are no goyim involved whatsoever. All the excuses that can normally be given can't be given unless you're Cody Cohen's dumbass, who sure did fall apart fast, didn't he? He sure did run away quick. Who said it that just because you read it somewhere doesn't mean somehow is discounting Israel Hayom's account of this. Not appalled by it, not inspired to do something against it, but just going to say, oh, it's just made up. Because that's literally what they do. I mean, understand, without Exodus, you can't there's no friarism. The entire cult hinges on Exodus. And Exodus is the most ridiculous top 3 dumbest stories in the Bible. In the narrative. It's so unbelievable and stupid that modern day everyone says it's probably an allegory. It's probably a fake story. It can't be true. It's impossible. And when you're talking about a cult that's based in fantasy, it just changes the narrative. It changes how you should look at things at the very least. It's fake. It's false bullshit. Exodus is dumb as shit. You have 2 million friars of all people walking around the desert for 40 years, eating and drinking nothing but manna and dew. Come on now. Who's going to buy that shit? $2 million people walking around the desert for 40 years. Harvesting manna every day because it doesn't last but 24 hours. Or I don't even know if it lasts 24 hours. It lasts the daytime. It's all such ridiculous nonsense. It's not true even a little bit. It's fake and stupid. Like it's all just fake, stupid nonsense. The narrative is fake and stupid. Just like the moon narrative, fake and stupid. And it's not up to me to prove that it didn't happen. How do you prove something doesn't exist? Prove there's not a leprechaun dancing around in my hand. I have faith he's there. Don't you guys have faith in him? Look at him dance. Diggly diddly diddly, hidely diddly dee. You guys see my leprechaun dancing around? You just have to have faith. He's there. When the average lifespan was 30 back then. It makes sense, right? It makes way more sense how, again, if you believe the narrative. Because if you look at every depiction of those times, and even the buildings that still exist somehow, they clearly live in an environment that we couldn't recreate. These guys were building megalithic structures all over the world with hammers and chisels and donkeys. It's there's just too much. There's just too much. But let's just say lifespans were 30. Unless, of course, you're a famous person, because every famous person seemed to live to the same age we do. But if you're a peasant who, only lives your world is a 30 mile, maybe more like 10-mile circle that you live in. Once a week you go to church, otherwise you live on your little farm growing your turnips and shit that you have a quota for because the king needs their supply. And the king is the closest thing that you peasants will ever know to God. You don't go to school. You don't have any outside contact. It's you and your family and maybe a neighbor or two. I don't know. And then your only outside source is going to church where this fiery preacher tells you these crazy stories that, again, is connected to your king. And your life sucks day in and day out. Your life sucks for the 30 years you might live. And your reward is that as long as you follow the rules, you'll get to go to heaven when you die. And you get to live like the king does. Well, then I can kind of understand why people would believe that shit. It being 2025, you still buying that shit is ridiculous. I know Granny needs, I wonder if that ain't got anything to do with it. I was Friday night school, I can get all this good at. Yeah. It's weird how the West Coast people said frying and the East Coast people said tripping. It's weird how acid doesn't exist anymore. Kids aren't doing acid anymore. Lysergic, something or other, dimethylide, or I don't remember what it's called. Acid's crazy. I have my acid trips. But that's a different day, different story, different time. I'm clearly being fucking throttled really badly right now, so I'm just going to bounce. Go check out Israel Hayom article in the description. Go get your free download, obviously. Again, www.the-bilderberg-group.com. It's free. Go check it out. Go watch Hollywoodism. Link again. All of my receipts are in the description. Hollywoodism, the link to the most important film ever made, right there. A link to the most important article ever made, Israel Hayom, Bottom of Darkness, right there. Yeah, fentanyl's fucking crazy. Fentanyl's so scary. So scary. So many people are dying from fentanyl by not trying to do fentanyl because somehow this government created product is in all sorts of things it shouldn't be. Why any coke dealer would cut their shit with fentanyl just makes no sense. If I wanted a coke high and I got fentanyl high, I'd be pretty pissed off. I got some strippers. I finally land the threesome, the hot girl threesome. I finally land it, and they want to do some coke and fuck all night. And we get some fentanyl shit, and everybody's, ugh. You cost me that threesome, I'm going to be upset with you. You can't turn this around. You're the one with the accusations about being fake, so prove it. What are you talking about? How do you prove something doesn't exist? Every argument you have to make, I can destroy. But I can't prove something isn't fake by, providing you with what? It doesn't matter anyway. You won't look. Just go look up the movie A Funny Thing Happened on the Way to the Moon. Look at them faking the footage of Earth from far away, while day 2 in the orbital, in the capsule or in the whatever it is, in low Earth orbit. When it takes 3 days to get to the moon, day 2 they're in low Earth orbit faking the footage. How are they walking on the moon the next day? Talking on the telephone to the president with no interruptions or anything. With the landline. It's just fucking stupid. And then, of course, they lost the telemetry data all of the data that proves how they did it. They have all sorts of bullshit that they managed to say, but the data that proves exactly how they accomplished this magnificent feat, that's the shit they lost. Wah, 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 wah. You know. These are all proofs that your narrative is bullshit. The fact that we supposedly went to the moon in 1969, here it is 2025, and I can't take my family on a moon vacation, shows you that shit's not real. They would have monopolized it by now. We would have been mining it. There would be homes on the moon. There would be all this shit. Like, come on. Van Allen radiation belts. When asked how they got through the Van Allen radiation belts, the answer was, well, we didn't know about them back then, so I guess we just got lucky. It's fucking stupid. It's all just fucking stupid. And they claim God gave them the incentive to write down what they do. Do you really believe that? Don't know what you're talking about. I know the bullshit idea that we went to the moon is such a joke. It's such a joke. It's such a joke how every 10 years or so they're like, hey, we're about to, in 10 years, there'll be vacations on the moon. There'll be vacations in outer space. There'll be, there'll be a hotel. Richard Branson is going to be, in 1997, Richard Branson was interviewed just after he started Virgin Galactic. And he was promising that within 10 years, there'll be civilian flights, at the very least, into outer space. 10 years later, 3 years later, he's named Sir Richard Branson. For some strange reason, this rebel character, this Virgin Records, Virgin Galactic, so gross. But for some reason, this guy is given knighthood. So you have to ask yourself, what did this guy in 1997 started this space company while NASA and shit was laying everyone off? So he got all the best people. He had unlimited finances. 3 years later, he's given a knighthood. What do you think he came to them with that they could buy his silence? How do you buy Richard Branson's silence? And my guess is immortality. And by immortality, it's really simple. Brad Pitt in 100 years is not going to be talked about. Bill Clinton in 100 years will not be talked about. Hillary Clinton will not be talked about. But as long as you are a knight, you are a sir, your name goes down in the annals of history so that in 1,000 years, people will look back and say, yep, that was Sir Richard Branson. He was one of the knights. That's immortality. Because in 2007, when asked again, hey, I thought you said that by 10 years there'd be civilian flights, his response was, and I quote, space is hard. And that was the reason. Back in 2022, 2023, I don't remember what one it was, Richard Branson did another low Earth orbit flight, and everyone made this big deal about it. Like it was this huge thing. Oh my gosh, Richard Branson has achieved low Earth orbit. We've been able to do that forever. What you talking about?
Yes, Mr. Muto, that's enough.
We still don't know how we would cross it if that's why we haven't gone back. Buzz Aldrin and other astronauts on that flight said the camera they never went. Said on camera they never. No, he didn't. Buzz said, this little Asian girl asked him, how come we never went back? Buzz said, "You're right. We never went back. We didn't go. How come we didn't go?" But he was talking about going back. Buzz is a douchebag. He's just another actor. You know, when people like to think that NASA is this huge thing, there's only been like 10,000 NASA employees. You know, it's not nearly as big as you think it is. Bought on adrenochrome for immortality. I don't think they have immortality yet. You know, I don't think, like, if they could do the transfer shit, if they could do all that kind of stuff, then David Rockefeller wouldn't have put himself through 6 heart transplants. Something that never gets talked about. Where the fuck did this guy get 6 different hearts to be transplanted in him? What about all the other people? How did he just jump that list over and over again? What other than money and weird connections, how did he get 6 different heart transplants? And I would imagine a heart transplant is an excruciating surgery. He did that shit 6 times when all he has to do is transfer into a different body or adrenochrome or whatever. Yeah, I don't know. When we start getting into those kind of conversations, there's only one response I can give you to all that. Until we Goyim unite and overthrow the friars, the friar conspiracy that controls our narrative, we're never going to know those answers. We're never going to fix those issues. We're never going to know the truth about any of it because they control what we know. We don't have flying cars either. In the all said we would. Yeah. I mean, if you so in the 20s and 30s and shit, there was this movement called the futurist movement. And the futurists believed that by now we'd be in the Jetsons age. We'd be eating pills for meals and flying cars and anti-gravity this, and they firmly believed it. And they were actually a pretty big movement. The thing was, because they always have the death, doom, and gloom thing. The adults were really happily pushing it because they knew they'd be dead long before it ever came to fruition. The youth of the futurist movement, they all believed that no matter what happens, no matter how far we get, it wouldn't matter because eventually we would just destroy ourselves with mutual, nuclear bombs. There's that cartoon that was remade several times with the owl telling the story to his grandchildren about how the last man killed, they had wars and they killed each other, and then the animals took over and built their little houses and then the Bible, and it's a pretty famous cartoon. It's been remade a couple of times, but it was a pretty like how now everybody's scared that we're all going to die from biologics. Back then it was nuclear war. And they milked nuclear war for about as long as they could. And now there's not enough evidence to support it, so they just changed the narrative. And now it's an invisible bad guy, so it's even more effective. Now it can be anything. And biologics can be a little vial of something. It doesn't require nuclear this and that. That's what it is. Anyway, I'm like I was saying before, I'm done. You did a good job of keeping me in it, but I'm in a bounce. So go get your free download. Go check out the links. Go do everything that you're supposed to do. Don't forget to like, share, and sub this page. You know me, I'll be here every day, same time, same channel. Whether you get the notification or can find it or not, I'll be here. The fact that you probably won't find it, well, that should tell you something. So, have yourself a great day, and most importantly, you pedophiles, fucking kill yourself.